After a wild race to kick off the High Tide Racing League season, we swing to its Daytona's sister track. Welcome to the biggest and baddest track on the NASCAR calendar. It's a little bit wider, the banking a little bit steeper, it's a little bit longer, the start-finish line a little bit further down the track, and even the cars just a little bit quicker. It's going to be a fun ride this afternoon as we get set to duke it out for round number 10 of the championship on Tuesday nights. My name is Ola Rambo, bringing you all of racing action from start to finish on what is bound to be a wild 56 laps of racing action coming on up in just the last little while. We take a look at those championship standings entering racing action here this afternoon, and it is bound to be as tight as ever. You, of course, are looking to the top 10, where Barron Morton currently sits with that 10th place spot, and he sits just 3 points ahead of Stefan Purcell for the final bump spot. For the chase, drivers like Sean Bounty, Grant Peterson, Conor France already theoretically to the good, but you can see just how close this championship has been throughout the entire duration of the season. The top 6 right now separated by a mere 31 points. There is a lot to be excited about coming up over the next 2 weeks, and only one race remains after this afternoon, and then we'll reset everything for the top 10 for the chase. That final race will come on in at none other than North Wilkesboro Speedway. So we swing from the longest track of the season down to the shortest track of the season, and that is bound to throw some shakeups into this championship as well. 2 wildcard rounds to close out the season, and you know that these drivers are going to be gunning for every last spot on the boards. Qualifying currently underway as it stands, with only 2 drivers so far putting down lap times. Those drivers being Stefan Purcell and Brett Van A with 2.5 minutes left on the boards, but more times quickly tumbling in, including that of Justin Krudoff, currently going to the number 1 spot with 52.81. Sean Kaiser crosses the line for his second lap, and he'll go 4th quick on the sheets this afternoon. So the lap times very, very quickly starting to pick on up at the Daytona, not the Daytona International Speedway, the Talladega Superspeedway. You got other folks like Tyler Grinnell working his way around the racetrack. We're right on board with Grinnell here. A lap around Talladega in qualifying, and a qualifying effort is so much more technical than you would be led on to believe. Take note of how Grinnell runs that outside line right up by the wall, trying to build up as much momentum as physically possible coming around through turn numbers 1 and 2 down the backstretch to 3 and 4. And all of this just so we can try and get a good drive down to the final corner so we can go for the banker lap at max speed. It's all about momentum for qualifying, and right now Sean Bounty making the most of his qualifying effort as he closes his second lap. He'll go 52.74. And a lot of other drivers still putting down those lap times with just a minute left on the board, so not a lot of time if you want to put a lap time down. Hunter throw across the start-finish line. He'll go 18th quick. Should have enough time to get that second lap in. Mark Brannigan Jr. had his first lap invalidated. He is currently turning his second, seeing what he can do from the top shelf. Crossing the start-finish line this time by Brannigan, the Thursday Cup Series driver, going to go 21st quick on the boards. Brandon Kluge putting down his first qualifying time of the session. And for the HW Racing, number 69 will only be good enough for 23rd, bottom of the boards. And here comes Hunter Thrower for his banker lap off of turn number 4. Across the line, and he will not be able to improve. He'll stay 19th quick. So not the qualifying effort that a lot of drivers here are hoping for, but there is still a lot these folks are going to be in for here this afternoon. As we close out qualifying, we'll set things up for the main show this afternoon. 56 laps around the Talladega Superspeedway. And it is all kicked off by Sean Bounty with a 52.745 alongside Austin Gassione. Just 8 thou separate the Rebel Racing and Eastern Stars Motorsports driver on the front row. Spencer Ray sits in the number 3 spot for All-American Motorsports alongside Gage Teff for Apex Racing in row number 2. Row 3 holds Josh McDougall and Justin Crudoff for HW Racing, with Ryan Dingler for Badger Racing and ESM driver Conor LaFrance on row 4. Row 5 holds Bandit Motorsports driver Sean Kaiser alongside McColgan Racing's Austin McColgan. Brett Rucker is down to the 11th spot, tied with Stephen Purcell for that number 11 spot, with Noah Swafford and Barrett Morton rounded it up in row number 7. And that is big because you got the top 14 separated by a 1/10 of a second or less. Grant Peterson and Brett Vandehey bring it up on row number 8 with ESM driver and Inconsistency Racing driver Jacob Noyes and Tyler Grinnell on row number 9. Row 10 headed up by Hunter Throw for All-American Motorsports and LGR Motorsports' Terrell Wheeler. Maxwell Kroll brings it up in 21st with Mark Brannigan Jr. in 22nd. Brandon Kluge sandbagging his qualifying effort, starts 23rd, alongside Robert Peterson in 24th. Devin Pierock and Chase Swafford bring up the rear of a 26-car field this afternoon. So 21 out of the 26 cars separated by less than 2/10 of a second on the qualifying sheets. And now it's all a big question as to who's going to be where in this race. How aggressive are these drivers going to be early on? On Monday night, it did not take us long before we found ourselves going 3 wide, and that caused quite an uproar indeed in that race with 4 major pileups. A few cars not going to make the starting call. Those drivers being Barrett Morton and Chase Swafford not making the call. So Barrett Morton started his race from pit row for the Spearcrest Nation number 9. That is not an ideal run at all for him. And Chase Swafford not missing the call, not going to make the call either. So the field rolling out from pit road, and we are ready to rumble as we'll be turning up the sound of the motors for the one and only pace lap at Talladega. Working down the back straightaway for the one and only time before we go green. 56 laps the distance, and again, we're not going to be seeing a lot of give or take here for these drivers. It's going to be all take, if anything, for this season to go by. There has never been too much give for this field, and I would honestly be shocked if we saw them giving each other any kind of momentum or cutting each other any sort of slack. Green flag pit stop's going to be a crucial point to winning today's race, but that is, of course, if we find green flag pit stops, of which there's a pretty solid chance that we may not. But with OMSRL, you never quite know. They've had green flag stops at this track before, but it is a bit of a rarity at Talladega in general on iRacing to make it far enough, especially in these Gen 7 cars for green flag pit stops. The pace car going to pull down and into pit road. And it'll be in the hands of Sean Boundy, who will lead us down to the Geico restart zone, but it's a long way to get around to that start-finish line at the exit of the Tri-Oval. We're happy that you're joining us here on Tuesday night. It's time to go from the biggest, baddest track in NASCAR. Coming off of turn number 4, Sean Boundy making an early jump to the outside lane after he stumbled right off the hitch. For the big shove from Austin Gassion, he will still come around to lead lap number 1 to green of the Talladega Superspeedway. It's the 33 of Gage Teff leading the way from the top shelf. Bear Morton has made his way onto the racetrack, but he is a good way down the field with a lot of an uphill battle ahead of him. Looking for a little bit of 3 wide already in the background. The 17 of Noah Swafford jumping to the inside, wanting absolutely no part in what's going on up here. And now Gage Teff looking like he's getting set to drop to the back as Gassion jumps down low. Spencer Ray will be his pusher now, while the 46 of Krudov will look to link up with the tail end of Sean Boundy. Brandon Kluge goes up to try to give some assistance to Gage Teff. So the HW Racing teammates going to link up at the tail end of that second row, while they're side by side still for the race lead. Already have had a lot of position shuffling for the top spots, and 2 double file freight trains. Status quo then from Talladega, at least for the opening 5 laps or so. Give them about 10, and we might see a little bit more excitement starting to kick off. Drivers tend to forget pretty easily sometimes just how long this race is. Krudov jumping down to the low side. Sean Boundy and Spencer Ray going at it 1-2. Gassion back to the top. Austin Gassion not showing a lot of camaraderie for some of the drivers that have been trying to work with him. He's been trying to link up with his ESM teammates in the forms of Conor LaFrance and Tyler Grinnell. Spencer Ray jumps to the inside. So we work down the back straightaway. Spencer Ray with no help down low allows for a 4-car breakaway up top. Boundy leads the way as Eastern Stars Motorsports running 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. Josh McDougall looking to make it 5. With McDougall just tagging on to the tail end of the CSM trio. And now, Eastern Stars going for the lead. Tyler Grinnell gets hung out to dry by his own teammates. LaFrance leads lap number 4. Conor LaFrance still hanging on. He's going to jump back up to the top shelf with Austin Gassion. Hunter Thrower wants to go to the lead, though. What did I tell you? It's all going to be take. Nobody wants to work with these guys. Grinnell shoves the back of Gassion, stacks up the entire middle line. And now 3 wide for the lead. Nobody is taking prisoners tonight. 3 abreast as they thunder off of turn at number 4 and down the front straightaway. Looking for 4 wide now as Hunter Thrower steps down to the middle line. Boundy up top. Thrower with no help. They're 4 wide down to turn 1, and they'll get it tripled out again. This is way too early to be racing like this. You're on lap 6. There's still 51 laps to go. What are you all doing? Conor LaFrance back to the point, and now trouble. Thrower's turned around. Middle of the pack. Sliding out and sideways. More drivers with trouble. But it'll be Hunter Thrower going around, and he has found the inside wall. Somehow that is not worse, but I don't know what to say. That was one of the wildest race starts I've ever seen, and I'm not a fan of that from Talladega. You can't be racing that early, otherwise you get situations like this. That was ugly. It was clumsy. But boy, it put on a good show at the very least. Let's take a look back and find out what happened to Hunter Thrower. Oh, just the stack up. Gage Teff and Brett Vandehey, and then Spencer Ray finished the job. Thrower slided all the way down, and he's going to back it into the inside wall. It's going to be pretty significant contact, but it was at least a square hit. So it shouldn't impact him too badly. Ay. So he slides all the way to the inside. And there you see Brett Vandehey stepping it out, and he just kept it off of Devin Pirog. Right on board with Pirog here. and what he saw getting through that mess. Puff of smoke, everybody jams the binders, and Pirog trying to just keep it off the wall, and he did a great job to slow that car down. That should have been a much bigger incident than it ended up being. So not the way that a lot of drivers are hoping to have this race go down early on. Several cars coming down to pit road. Vandehey, Teft, Ray, Bounty, Peterson, Kaiser, Rucker, Wheeler, Kroll, McColgan, Purcell, all coming down to pit road. The top 10 right now all stayed out on the racetrack. 11th on back is in, Chase Swafford. Still has not made it to the racetrack. Right sides only for Sean Bounty on that stop. Grant Peterson jumps to both by taking fuel only. One driver currently sitting in pit road is Hunter Thrower. All the way down to the 25th place spot, and with a lot of damage to get repaired on his race car. We'll see if we can potentially get in touch with the driver of the number 83 here, as we'll look to get a word for the driver to Zebulon, North Carolina. Hunter, this is Noel Rempel up here in the broadcast booth. You got a copy?
Yes, sir.
Well, not the way you were hoping to have this race kick off. Talk us through your perspective on that whole mess.
Yeah, I'm not sure. We started in the back, didn't have a good qualifying, and then started getting really good runs and worked our way up to the front there. And after a couple of laps, I heard from a spotter that got a bad push. So we'll see what we can do here. But yeah, couldn't see, don't know what happened, but we're gonna get back out there and try to win this thing.
There was a lot of aggression on the early stages. It looked like you were fighting them the last 5 laps instead of the first 5. Is that going to be a trend we're going to be seeing throughout the whole night here?
If I get a run, I'm going to take it.
All right, sounds like a plan. We'll let you go back to work. Good luck out there.
Appreciate it.
Hunter Thrower out of Zebulon, North Carolina will restart his race in 25th. And, well, you heard him. He finds a run. He's not looking to lay back at all. And I feel like that's a familiar sentiment all throughout this field here this time by. A lot of drivers found themselves with a handful in that one early on, and I know one driver that might be looking a little nervous might be that of Sean Bounty, the driver of the number 34. Came down to pit road, took 2 tires for the Rebel Racing number 34. Sean, this is Noel Rempel up here in the broadcast booth. Got a copy?
Yeah, I got you. How am I coming in?
There we go. Now we got a handle of you. But 2 tires on the first pit stop, and we're not even 10 laps in. What's the strategy play there?
Obviously, I wanted to be a little bit further back than I was. Took 2 tires, left side wears a little bit. The track is hot and slick. Just figured I might get a little bit more grip. Try to have a short pit stop midway through the race if we don't get any more cautions. Just kind of thinking long term, just in case we go green. But yeah. Car's good, track's good. We're just riding through the field right now. Nobody seems to want to be helping anybody else anywhere. As soon as you get an opportunity up front, everybody's taking it. So I'm going to jump back here, and since I can't control the front right now with how everybody's spread out, I'm going to see how the car handles in mid-pack.
Well, we'll see. Doesn't look like we're going to be getting too much green flag running in if the racing is going to pan out the way the first 5 laps did. But we'll wish you the best of luck regardless anyway. You're restarting 12th for this one.
Yeah, appreciate it. Thank you.
So Sean Bounty of the North Hills going to be restarting. Again, 12th place. That is 6th on the outside row. As the field working into turn numbers 3 and 4. It is an Eastern Stars Motorsports 1-2 at the top with LaFrance and Gassion side by side. Josh McDougall and Brandon Kluge on row number 2. And Tyler Granode and Jacob Noyes on row 3. Pace car is off. Again, it's a long wait though. And already Coming to the close of yellow flag number 1, just as we take that lap counter over to double digits. And the Valvoline number 7 Camaro will take us back to the green flag. Immediately jumping up to the outside line, trying to give a hand to Gassione, but then hops down low to cover the run from Josh McDougall. So he's going to have to hope that Gassione can get something else working for him there. There you see Tyler Grinnell jumping up to the outside, and now one into the outside wall. It's Mark Brannigan. As Brannigan gets loose, and he's going to side slap the wall coming off of turn 2. No caution will keep it green. But this Pac-Man already on a tear down to the turn numbers 3 and 4. It's an ESM 1, 2, 3 podium lockout as it stands. But how long will it look to stay that way? Jacob Noyes looking to make a run to the front. He gets to the inside of Brandon Kluge, but nobody goes with him to help. So the Wrangler number 3 will be down and out early on in this one. And he is going to hemorrhage positions. Could lose a top 10 if he's not too careful. Single file running in that middle lane all the way through turn numbers 1 and 2, and now working the backstretch. Little bit tamer up front for now. I say for now because once they get their footing a little bit more into this green flag run, I'm willing to bet it's going to be right back to the hecticness that we saw in the first 3 laps of this race. Bit of 3-wide action going on deeper in the field. And there we see Sean Bowdy and Gage Taft try to get a run going. Grant Peterson looking to the high side. Ryan Dingler goes up to block as well. So Badger Racing wants to go. Josh McDougall trying to side draft. The 2 lanes are squeezing each other up, leaving the bottom lane to run all by themselves. Round the top side of 1 and 2. 3 wide, several rows deep, about 6 deep there, with Grant Peterson and everybody else on a single file breakaway on the top shelf. Down to the bottom side of 3 and 4. Noyes leads the inside. McDougall leads the outside, and they're 3 wide with Sean Boundy up on top. The main pushers, Gage Teft, Devin Pirog, and believe that to be Brett Van de Hey. But up at the front, it is Austin Gassione leading the way in full force down to turn 1. Don't reckon it's going to take too long for us to get yellow flag number 2 this afternoon. It only took 6 laps the first time. And with all these moves, you know it's only going to take one quick adjustment for everything to go haywire. Pack thunders through turns 3 and 4. Hunter Thrower still clinging on to the bottom side of the racetrack, but that inside lane right now has no momentum, and they are falling victim to the top 2 lines that are right now pushing clear. And Connor LaFrance with his ESM trio, they are absolutely controlling this race from the outside. That outside lane really looks like the place to be right now. Gage Teft, though, trying to put a side draft on that outside line, trying to slow them down so we can try to claw his way back to the field, but he's got to have Josh McDougall get to the back bumper so they can push a bit more. The fact that that middle lane is not able to coordinate is costing them big time, and it looks like they're going to double it out for most of this pack. As I say that, McDougall, Taft hop back to the middle line. Hunter Thrower went with him initially to the middle, and now he jumps from bottom to top as he's going to link up with the 3rd lane. Right now, the entire pack, all the way back to Brannigan, or back to Purcell, sorry, are all in one long line, and Mark Brannigan Jr., after getting into the outside wall on the restart off of turn 2, is all by himself. 1 car down low on the apron. That's the 17 of Noah Swafford, dropping back to the tail end of the field. We've doubled the distance that we went for that first yellow flag, or we haven't doubled it, sorry, but we haven't matched the distance that we went before we got to that first yellow flag. Tell you what, very unusual to see the outside line look so powerful. It's not common that that happens on iRacing. Whoa, trouble, the 19 going around. Maxwell crawled into the wall, Hunter Thrower's up and over. Thrower sliding on his roof all the way down the racetrack and into the infield grass, and he'll land on his roof. And that will strand the 83, and his day goes from bad to worse. Conor LaFrance leads the way, and a wild wreck to put us under yellow flag number 2 of the night. Just a bad bump, it looked like, as Kroll caught the fence, and that checked him up right into Terrell Wheeler, who just had nowhere to go. And Thrower squeezed into the wall. He goes up on his roof. Baron Morty got involved. Brett Rucker was involved. About 5-6 cars getting collected in this. They see Brett Vandehey down to the inside. With all of his damage, Jacob Noyes had a front row seat of that. Just wrong place, wrong time for the 83 car, and I promise you that was not the way you wanted his race to go down. Let's ride on board with Thrower here. That is now the 3rd flip that we've had in 2 days on Green Flag TV. And this one, the softest roll out of the lot, just got squeezed up at exactly the worst angle to put him up into the wall. On board with Jacob Noyes. That's what the Wrangler number 3 saw. Well, we did catch the fence a little bit, but checked up nicely and just got around the worst of that. Got a great view, though, of Thrower sliding down the racetrack. Once again, the field down and into pit road. This time, Grant Peterson, the only one staying out. Split call. Some drivers going for a fuel only. Some drivers going 2 tires. Some drivers going all 4. Conor LaFrance will lose out on 2nd place as a result. Sean Bounty taking fuel only on that last stint, and he's now up to the number 2 spot. No doubt looking to try to make a run on picking up the race lead. We got our second yellow flag of the night, and our first flip from Talladega. We're going to take a step back. We return to some more racing action on Green Flag TV.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Welcome back to Green Flag TV. Just about to go back to Green Flag racing action from Talladega Superspeedway. Hunter Thrower has made his way back out onto the racetrack, taking that quick repair, although he is now a lap down and has a big uphill battle ahead of him. Only 6 rows will line up double file with this one, with the rest of the field coming down to pit road for a second time under that caution flag. So half the field single file, half the field double. Should make this a bit of a tamer restart. But we'll see what'll happen here with this field. Grant Peterson and Sean Bounty alongside. Peterson picks the outside for the restart. Green flag's out. We're back to racing. Well, Gage Taft not waiting long before he wanted to jump to the lead. He's going to hop to the inside to get around Grant Peterson, but he's got no help right now. He does have Vanderhaeg closing, but that's going to be a tough run to make, and sure enough, it goes back the way of the outside. So Peterson, pushed by Bounty, go to the front. And again, they will hug that outside wall all the way through turns 3 and 4. 46 of Krudov getting close to the outside wall. It's a top 5 breakaway with 6th on back, side-by-side double, and then 3 wide. Now we got about a mirror formation what we had throughout that second stint. And already we're 21 laps in with only 26 to go. Spencer Ray jumping to the bottom side of the racetrack. Only about 3 laps away from halfway. Down the back chute. Austin McColgan. Haven't seen too much from this Pioneer Camry so far all night long. He's going to hop to the inside. And with no help, he goes from 10th all the way up to 7th. But the run will stall off of turn number 4. He tries to side draft, but it's nothing doing. Getting around lap 22 now. Still, it's Grant Peterson out in front. Sean Bounty still running in second. Brandon Kluge still running in third. And look at the drive from Brett Rucker to put himself to the tail end of this battle pack. Again, though, a lot of drivers single filed it out. We still cannot make it to the end of this race on 1 tank of fuel. So a lot of these drivers are no doubt being a little bit more cautious. They're trying to save some of that fuel so they can minimize how much time they spend in pit road as possible on the final stop of the night. But if they could get 1 more yellow, that should put them to the threshold of being able to make it. 3 wide, multiple rows deep in the background. It's all about these battle packs further down the field. Single file all you want, but this is where all the action's at, and this is where the highest likelihood of a caution coming out stands. Ryan Dingler, Terrell Wheeler, Barrett Morton all under a blanket. Oh, Gage Taft putting a little block there on Jacob Noyes. Noyes scrambles the inside and gets a shove from the 9 to get by the 33, who has got no help on the middle. Gage Taft will drop back to Brett Rucker. Now look at the inside lane move. They will quickly catch the front runners, and now Jacob Noyes looking to go to the point in the tri-oval. Halfway home, 23 down, 23 to go from Dega, and Noyes leads the last lap of the first half. On board with Carter LaFrance, he's running in the middle of this pack, still trying to find a way through. You see everybody in the back here really checking out big time. So it's Gassion, Greneau, and LaFrance all under a blanket. The problem is they just got nowhere to take this run. That middle lane has stalled. And now how about Hunter Thrower? Looking to get his lap back as he goes with Sean Kaiser around the outside of Jacob Noyes. Hunter Thrower now only down one lap. If he can get the lucky dog here with a lucky caution, he's back on the lead lap and back in this fight after being on his roof. Sean Kaiser takes the lead in the meantime, and now Thrower, he thought about jumping up to the outside to block the run, but it was nothing doing, and Brett Vandehey drives around the top shelf for the lead. Everybody in this field, bar two at the back, packed up in one thick pack here as they run it down to the front straightaway. Brett Vandehey continuing to close things out. Doing a solid job running up at the head of this field. And now closing on a halfway, as I've realized my math has been all sorts of off. Lap 23 ain't the halfway point, lap 28 is. 30 laps to go. And now just 2 away from the halfway mark, and we're 3 wide, multiple rows deep once again. Carter LaFrance and Tyler Gordon are linked up, but Austin Gassion's got Robert Peterson breaking up their run. All of this middle of the field. Towards the front, Sean Kaiser and Brett Vandehey, the two big drivers right now that are in battle for the race lead. With Sean Bounty and Sean Kaiser being the main pushers. Oh, but Josh McDougall looking to stuff his nose into the middle. Vandehey now with no help. The top two get clear. Still 3 wide for a majority of the mid-pack here. Look at the breakaway. 6 cars all breaking clear in a single file train up the road. Make it the top 5. And then Hunter Thrower, of course, a lap down. But now Robert Peterson gets single file. And Robert Peterson taking a run with Austin Gassion. Mark Brannigan Jr. looks to go with them. They got a good run down the back straightaway. Can they make the push all the way to the front? LaFrance and Greneau ditch the inside. And Robert Peterson just clears Sean Kaiser with Hunter Thrower still being a nuisance as the lap car in the way. So Brannigan, Gassion, Robert Peterson all get clear. Still got a good, strong run, Eastern Stars Motorsports, with 4 cars linked up now from the outside. And they should be able to pretty safely control this race as we fight our way into the second half of this race. Still a bit of 3 wide behind with Robert Peterson, Hunter Thrower, Devin Purog, Sean Bounty, Sean Kaiser all under the blanket. How about Brett Rucker going down the middle of Austin McColgan and Barrett Morton? He's going to look to link up with Bounty now from the top. Getting it back to double file pretty darn quick. It's DSM 1, 2, 3, and 4. If they can continue to control this race, they could very easily find themselves in the podium lockout A 4-car team train is a very difficult task to try to upset. Oh boy, Brett Rucker, what's happened to Rucker? Rucker way down low in the middle of turns 1 and 2. So some big problems going on there for Rucker. Let's take a look on what just happened to the MWM Motors. Oh boy, way to the inside. What happened here? We're gonna have to back this up even further. This got wild coming into turn numbers 1 and 2. Scott Austin McColgan right behind him. I'm willing to bet this was a checkup here as Bounty and Robert Peterson caught the outside line. Yeah, the line's gonna stack up and nowhere for McColgan to go. Gets into the back end and Gage Teft sends the 4 down low, but what a save from the number 4 entry to recover that car and keep it going in the straight line. That easily could have been a race ender. Now Gage Teft hung out to dry. Brett Vandehey taking it down to the inside. Tyler Grinnell, or Brandon Clusar going around the outside. Drivers slicing and dicing, trying every which way to try to find some kind of momentum to get themselves back to the front. But nothing so far has been of any threat to the ESM 1, 2, 3, 4 freight train that leads the pack. 3 wide, multiple rows deep still, deep in the field. Trying to get a 3, now a 4-car tandem rolling on the inside of the racetrack. But again, that's a very tall order. McColgan and Kaiser are not going to be able to do much with it. Top 4 still on a good charge, trying to get away from this pack. Sean Boundy, though, could look to be a threat. Ryan Dingler jumps down low. The inside's got some speed going. Boundy will give the bumper to Dingler mid-corner. He's going to get right to it. I think he gave him the smallest nudge to try to get him rolling. Boundy shoving Dingler with everything that 34 car's got underneath it to try to go for the top spots. And now the Eastern Stars Motorsports dynasty on the high side of the racetrack is under siege. Oh, you can see they're getting a little bit desperate as well. They had a bad bump there from Brannigan and LaFrance, and that caused them to get a little bit more unsettled. Josh McDougall thinking about opening up the 3rd lane with Devin Pirog. Side by side for the lead, Ryan Dingler drives to the front. Off of turn number 4. Gassion is shoved clear from Brannigan, from LaFrance. What a thrilling battle that we are having this afternoon. Gassion, Brannigan, LaFrance, Grinnell still managing to lead the way. Dingler and his crew down low mounted a very valiant effort, but it doesn't look like it went quite their way. And now we're seeing a lot more 3-wide action further towards the front within the top 10. We're at the 20 laps to go, Mark. Robert Peterson steps it out. A bad bump from Gage Teft almost put the Klondike Mustang sliding around. Hunter Thrower trying to gun for the middle, but he's got no help there, especially with him being a lapped car. No one's going to go with him. Thrower can see his chances at a lucky dog slipping away. He is caught in the proverbial sucker hole as he is driven all the way to the back. A lot of movement going on from that inside line as they try to link up. Gassione still clear as they run it down to 3 and 4, but Dingler is doing his best to try to get back to him. Trouble, Jacob Noyes into the infield grass, middle of 3 and 4. He's going to drop off from the lead pack. Sideways again into the infield grass and recovers. So what happened to Jacob Noyes here? Oh boy, pushed down to the inside by a bad bump from Baron Morton as he got sandwiched between Morton and Sean Kaiser, and that sent the 3 car scrambling to the inside. Did a great job, though, to hang on to that inconsistency of racing number 3. Still working, 18 laps to go, this time by at the line, and double file for the top spot. Gassione, Brannigan, Dingler, LaFrance, Boundy, McColgan, side by side for the top 6 spots, and then it's 3 wide all the way back to the leading group. You know if something goes awry here, it's going to be big. So these drivers are having to really do their best to drive it as carefully as they can, but it's not an easy task. And this is bad news for Tyler Grinnell as he gets separated from his teammates. He jumps down to the inside, just tucks in between McColgan and Sean Kaiser. But the Eastern Stars Motorsports quadruple starting to break apart. Conor LaFrance being separated from his teammates with a side draft. And now there's only 2 of them left. Brannigan and Gassione struggling to hang on, but the field ain't having it. A huge shove into turn number 1 pushes Gassione clear. But it'll take a little bit for them to link back up down the back straightaway. And could that be enough for Dingler and Boundy to make a charge? LaFrance gets back to them. 3-car tandem down the back stretch, and Gassione and Brannigan get clear from Dingler once more. Boy, the ESM driver's doing a phenomenal job on controlling this race from up front, even though they've had to really overcome quite a bit of adversity today. And now, how about this? Look at them strategically moving all the way up to the wall, trying to get Tyler Grinnell back up with them. That's a risk, though, because it leaves them vulnerable to attack from down low. Because here comes Dingler, Boundy, McColgan, and Kaiser with a run of their own. A drag race now down the back stretch to see who gets clear down to turn 3. They could not pull Grinnell clear. They had to jump down to make sure they didn't lose too much ground. And now with Josh McDougall being 3 wide, I think they're going to have to leave Grinnell behind. Looking for a little bit of 4 wide action deeper in the field. They're going to get it tripled out, and they're not going to go for it. But boy, these drivers are all over the place right now. 15 laps to go. The aggression is ramping up. The top 3 breaking away. I think Grinnell started the place from rear gun support, trying to slow down the rest of the pack as best as he can with whatever side draft he can muster, but it's not a lot. Down the back chute, still 3 abreast. Sean Bound looking at the top, and Conor LaFrance cuts off the run down to the turn 3. Are they going to hang on? They're all over the place. Tyler Grinnell weaving it out, trying to hang on against Robert Peterson. Devin Pirog, middle of the pack. He's going to break around Boundy. It looks like they managed to get away with that. Gage Taft, Brett Vandehey going to the outside line. Tyler Grinnell going with them. They're opening up a 3rd groove again, trying to go for the lead. All the while, oh, trouble! Ray up into the outside wall. Tyler Renault spins around. Spencer Ray gets collected. And multiple cars involved. It's the big one in turn 2. Major pileup coming down out of the out of turn 2 on that one. Boy, that was a wild ride. Devin Pirog just into the back of Josh McDougall. Ray goes up and slams Vanderhay to the outside wall. Greneau gets involved. Josh McDougall just escapes it down low. And then back up into traffic. He's going to get into Vanderhay a second time. Puts him all the way around. An overall very wild incident. We'll get a look at this at speed. Just wrong bump at the worst possible place for Pirog, and all things considered, that was not as bad as I thought it was. That easily could have, and again, probably should have been worse. Let's ride on board here with Josh McDougall and what he saw as he had just barely escaped, and this puts him into 8th. Did a great job to save it, and then yikes! Right across the nose. And this will be enough to put this pack with enough fuel to make it to the end. Again, take a look at this. Look at how close this is, as couldn't have been more than about 2 or 3 inches there between McDougall and Spencer Ray. Austin McColgan stays out on the racetrack. Barry Morton, LaFrance stay out. Teft stays out. McDougall, Pirog, Krutoff all staying out. Everyone else so far is in. Sean Boundy will not stay out. He is into pit road. That's Jacob Noyes that stayed out on the racetrack. So the top 8 stayed out. Everybody else is in to pit road. Caution number 3 on the night. We're going to take a step back. We return. It's more racing action on Green Flag TV. Welcome back to Green Flag TV. Getting set to return to Green Flag Racing. Bear Morton, Austin McColgan lead the way. LaFrance, Temp, Pirog, McDougall, all not coming down to pit road, along with Justin Krudoff and Jacob Noyes. The top 8 all staying out. And this will take us around for what will no doubt be a bonkers final 10 laps of racing action from the Talladega Superspeedway. All bets are off. Green flag back in the air. 10 to go. Boyd, the outside lane, got a good drive going there. Bear Morton with no help down low. So it is McColgan, Teft, LaFrance, Pirog that managed to link up and pull a gap before Morton finally gets some help from Vandehey. As I say that, though, Vandehey trying to jump to the middle line. And Vandehey will have some supporters. Kaiser goes up in front of him. Rucker behind, but it took a little while for them to get organized. And now, oh boy, McColgan! Austin McColgan way low on the racetrack. He just barely recovers from a wild slider coming off of turn numbers 3 and 4. McColgan with a wild miss as that car scrambled to the inside coming off of turn number 4. Just managed to make make a great save with that for the Pioneer number 51. Take another look at this. Being shoved to the point by Gage Tefton. This right here is why you don't push in the corners, especially on the left rear. What a save from the 51. Barely skipped a beat. He's all the way down the field, but at least he's still in the pack and not in the inside wall. Looking for 4 wide, deeper in the field. Off of turn number 4 and now to the tri-oval. 4 deep. Stefan Purcell, Osgacion, Tyler Granell, Terrell Wheeler, Brannigan, Thrower, all in the 4 wide grudge match down to the turn number 1. 4 wide doesn't often work, but you can make it work if you got some confidence in the cars around you and they're gonna survive. So the field survives, arguably one of the closest calls we've seen all night. And now we have 8 to go. Josh McDougall dropping to the middle line, and he is now looking like he might be suffering here. Carter LaFrance will go down to help him, though. So McDougall with a bit of assistance. LaFrance trying to go to the point, but Ryan Dingler has got that lead firmly in his grasp. Still 3 wide through a good portion of this field still. So much discoordination going on. Again, it's all take and no give right now. Everybody wants to go. Osagacion looking desperate in the background. While Dingler and Morton successfully blocked 2 lanes at once to keep their lead streak going. Oh, Jacob Noyes into the outside wall off of turn number 4. That's going to push Sean Bounty down towards Terrell Wheeler, and they'll just barely escape that mess. Now 6 laps to go. How about Tyler Granell jumping up to the outside line, trying to link up with Hunter Thrower. Spencer Ray not having it. He's going to jump to the inside. Now Osagacion blocks down to the bottom. Spencer Ray, he's not always a big fan of these ESM guys, and he is definitely trying. Oh, we got trouble. Dingler turned into the outside wall. Multiple cars around. Throwers into the fence again. 4, 5, 6 involved, with 2 separate wrecks coming off of turn number 4. Two big accidents coming down to it, and one of them started when Ryan Dingler got turned the wrong way. Tried to block Purcell. Purcell put himself into the wall. Just drifted down. He got loose and slammed the 16 into the fence. And there you see Conor LaFrance getting turned with a 4-wide moment up the road. And the 57 slid all the way down the racetrack. That left front was destroyed on his car. And this is what happened to LaFrance and the rest of the field coming off of turn 4. So he just he got into McColgan, Thrower came up the middle, but it was really Bear Morton that turned him, and then Thrower took another hard shot to the wall, got up on 2 wheels. Krudoff almost got involved. Gage Teff got turned hard into the wall. Sean Bounty was facing the wrong way. But again, this field did a good job on, for the most part, avoiding a colossal disaster for most of the field. It's at speed. Quite a few cars involved, but a majority of them were safe throughout a good chunk of that. A lot of folks into pit road as well for damage repairs as we are under yellow flag number 4. Tyler Grineau did a good job of getting around that unscathed. Let's ride on board with him. Grineau now finds himself running 6th after this near miss. Yikes, just barely squeaked through that. So 4 laps to go. We should still finish this race under regular regulation time. We're setting ourselves up for an overtime run. And you know these guys are going to be a little bit more aggressive throughout the tail end of this race. One such driver that's been having he's been having himself with a pretty big moment over the last little while. It's Justin Krudoff, as the driver out of Bossier City has been having a time of it so far. Justin, you're running 4th right now. How's the car been feeling for you so far this last run?
Oh, you know, the car's been fine. It's just the level of aggression in this race just seems through the roof. So you get shuffled out of line pretty easy, and then you just fall straight to the back. It's pretty wild.
Well, despite that, you found yourself all over the shot. You've been at the back. You've been up at the front. You're going to restart this race from the front on what will end up being a 2-lap sprint. How confident are you can come away with a good finish tonight?
I'm not confident. I'm hopeful. We'll see what happens. I got a little bit of that last wreck, so hopefully it's not too hurt.
Well, wish you the best of luck here on this restart, as we'll be going 1 to go with 3 laps left on the board. So we'll wish you the good luck out there on the restart.
Thank you very much.
Justin Krudoff out of Bossier City, Louisiana. Will restart his race 2nd on the outside. Bandit Motorsports could be on a good run here, as they've got 2 of their drivers, Sean Kaiser and Bear Morton, lining it up nose to tail. So Kaiser understandably picking the inside for the restart. Eastern Stars Motorsports at one point had 4 of their drivers, with Renault, Brandigan, Gassion, and LaFrance all running 1, 2, 3, and 4. Boy, how the mighty have fallen, though, as that team is scattered all over the field. Got 3 of their drivers in close proximity, but they caught LaFrance back in 14th after that mess. Well, hedge your bets. It's a natural green-white checkered finish. So if we don't make it back to the white flag, we'll have 3 more attempts Do we finish this race under regulation time? Like Justin said, the aggression is through the roof, and I think he put it best. He's not confident. He's hopeful, though. I think that kind of sums up a majority of this field so far. A lot of drama this race. And this is all setting us up for a wild regular series finale at North Wilkesboro Speedway next week. For Bear Morton, he is in a critical position with only 3 points to the good. He needs to have a good finish here if he wants to stand a chance come the short tracks next week. Green flag's in the air. 2 laps to go from Talladega. Sean Kaiser getting clear for now. Bear Morton trying to link up with him. Double file all the way through this field. Nobody making any kind of aggressive looks just yet. Conor France has got a third lane working with Sean Bounty on the top side, but they're still a long way back as we enter turns 3 and 4. Do we make it to the white flag? LaFrance still clear, but he's getting a good jump here on Bear Morton, and that's not ideal. He's going to have to block Grant Peterson. Peterson to the high side. Kaiser back down low. 3 wide, looking for 4, middle of the pack. We'll take the white flag. This race finishes under regulation time. 4 abreast as they enter turn number 1. This ain't gonna last. Collusion to the outside wall. Swafford going around. Multiple cars sliding sideways on the backstretch as we work down the back straight over the final time. Martin blocks Brannigan, middle of the racetrack. 4 wide again. Peterson sideways. Tyler Granell sizing up a lunge. Round the top shelf. He's into the outside wall. Granell takes him out. Grant Peterson taken out. Sean Bounty to the lead. Pirog up on his side and over. Can Brett Rucker run down Sean Bounty? Half a second. Crewed off to the high side. And Sean Bounty walks it off by taking the win at the Talladega Superspeedway. Shades of 2012 all over again with a violent wreck coming across the line. Multiple cars going around and trying to limp back to the start-finish line. A monster of an accident up in turn number 4. Let's take a look back on what happened for that final lap with multiple cars going around. Devin Pirog upside down against the wall. Multiple cars slammed into the fence. Josh McDougall almost went up and over. What a wild way to close out this race. And it'll be the Rebel Racing number 34. We talked to him earlier today, and he is going to come home as a race winner. Sean Bounty out of left field steals the race win as the field falls apart in turn numbers 3 and 4. Tyler Granell went to the lead. He got hooked hard into the wall by Spencer Ray. Grant Peterson went to the lead. He immediately got spun to the inside. That resulted in one car going over and another car coming pretty darn close to it. Taking a better look at what happened to Pirog here. Watch this as he gets kicked up into the wall, on his side, on his roof. Multiple hard shots into the wall. Watch Renault up the road, hard lick into the wall from Spencer Rain. It was Brett Rucker that turned Grant Peterson, and the whole field just stumbled apart. How about Krudov? Just barely shot through there. And Austin McColgan ducked through as well. This is Krudov. He came home second after a near miss. Just absolutely went full send and took that spot away in force. And then this is with Austin McColgan, as McColgan came flying through to steal 7th after being dropped so far down the field off the restart. Excuse me, coming through. And that's enough for 7th place. Boy, oh boy, that about as wild of a finish as you could get. So 2 big wrecks on the final lap for 2 different races in a row. And we're going to get the chance now to take a run down through all of your race results here this afternoon. What a wild show that we had here this afternoon. At the end of the day, Sean Boundy takes the walk-off win as he survives the melee. Justin Krudov shot through the middle to steal 2nd, with Brett Rucker in 3rd. Sean Kaiser finishes his race in 4th with Jacob Noyes in 5th. Terrell Wheeler was 6th. Spencer Ray 7th. Austin McColgan ended up sniping 8th by ducking through that mess. Brett Van de Hey was 9th. Grant Peterson in 10th. All these cars collected in the big wreck on the final lap, with Robert Peterson, Gage Teff, Tyler Grinnell, Bear Morton, Maxwell Kroll, Brandon Clues, Ryan Dingle, Noah Swafford, Mark Brannigan Jr., and Austin Gassione for the top 20. Conor LaFrance, first driver, finishing 1 lap down, with Devin Pirog, Josh McDougall, Stephen Purcell, all finishing 1 lap down. Hunter Thrower did not finish this race, and Chase Swafford did not start this race. Boy, oh boy, it doesn't get any more crazy than that. We'll get the chance now to take a chit-chat here with all the drivers that came home after a wild one this afternoon, and we're going to look to kick it off first and foremost with none other than Sean Boundy. He is the driver that comes home, and, well, Sean, it was looking like it was going to be a wild fight, and then you had it easy coming off of 4. Walk us through it.
I don't even know what just happened. We got caught up in that previous wreck, and figured we were going to start in the back, take some left side tires, and get some grip, because I knew we were going to rip the wall, thinking the bottom 2 lanes. You know, the bottom 2 lanes had been getting really good runs. That's because, for whatever reason, people were getting too comfortable up against the wall and not defending. It's a lot more work to run that wall, and you got to come off it at the right times when that bottom lane comes, and it wasn't happening. And people were getting more and more sure that the bottom was going to start working. And the only chance that I really had was get some left side tires on it, get some grip, because I knew I was going to be bumped around. And I saw an opening right second I could after that restart, and just went to the wall. And I saw the 6 jump up in front of me, and who was it? LaFrance jumped up in front of me, and somehow he got replaced by the 6, and me and him just finished the job getting up to the rest of the front. And I think the 81 blocked his momentum coming out of 2 on the last lap, and I figured maybe we'll be top 4 and they're just going to hold that line. And I don't know. After that, I'm just thinking, okay, I'm going to ride right here. I'm bumping the 6. I'm getting bumped. I'm barely hanging on to the car, and everybody just around me just disappears. It reminded me of that win Jeff Gordon had at Pocono when the rain came, the seas parted. He went through the middle, and all of a sudden the race was called. But yeah, going up against the wall was the only shot, and nobody defended really.
Of course, we only have 1 race left in the regular series season, and, well, it couldn't be at a more difficult racetrack, right? And a more different racetrack. We go from the longest track on the schedule to the shortest track of the schedule. North Wilkesboro will be the final race of the regular series season. You're mathematically still not safe yet for the chase. So what are you going to have to do to make sure that you can lock yourself into the playoff run next week?
Well, I just, I hate the idea of points racing, but we'll see like what it would take to stay in contention. And I love a place like Martinsville, but North Wilkesboro, it's really hit or miss for me. I've gone there twice, and it's been just kind of like a maybe mid top 15 car, I guess. So I got a lot of work to do there. I think just more than anything, just keep my head the way I've been doing most of the season. Only had maybe 2 bad races, getting caught up into things, and everything else was just keeping it calm, keep it level. And more than anything, like, I'm not dominating a lot of races. We're just consistently staying up front, up near the front, and having good finishes. So that's all I'm really probably going to focus on.
Sounds like a solid plan. We'll wish you the best of luck next week with 1 race to go. And we'll see you next week, same time, same place.
Yeah, thank you. Really appreciate it. This was a great race.
Sean Bounty comes home with the number 1 spot this afternoon. With all of that said and done, we're going to get the chance to talk to your number 2 finisher. It is Justin Krudoff coming on home to finish 2nd place on the podium. And, well, Justin, you said you were not confident but hopeful. But boy, was that hope ever enough. You parted the seas, just barely able to snipe away 2nd place there with that big wreck. Kind of talks through that final lap.
Yeah, I'm still kind of in shock that actually happened, but I thought my race was over. I kind of got shuffled to the middle, and as soon as my teammate got to my back bumper, he got turned. So I thought I was just alone, and then everything in front of me just started wrecking. I picked a spot and never lifted and came out the other side somehow.
You were able to pick just the right spot, and it closed up about a second after you left that spot as well. But this is going to be big points for you this afternoon. How confident are you that you're going to be able to make a playoff run coming on over into the final race in North Wilkesboro?
Yeah, this is huge for that. Last week hurt for sure, so this will be a big help for that. I'm fairly confident going to North Wilkesboro. Just got to qualify good and stay up front, so we'll see what happens, but I'm pretty hopeful about it.
It was a wild show for you this afternoon. You are now on the bump spot, 3 points to the good, and we'll see if you can hang on to that next week with the final race of the regular series season.
Awesome, thank you.
Justin Krudoff comes home with a solid drive this afternoon. He finishes 2nd out of Bossier City, Louisiana. We move on down to Brett Rucker, the driver that finishes 3rd this afternoon. And Brett, you unfortunately were one of the drivers that contributed to that big mess coming off of turn number 4 in the final lap. But we didn't see too much of you today. You were running throughout the back of the field for much of this, but you were right where you needed to be when it counted, and you pick up the final step of the podium this afternoon.
Yeah, I had a wild ride about the halfway point and was just riding around the back. I hate turning the 52 there, but I didn't know that wreck was happening, and he kind of jumped to the high side, so I thought he was blocking the high line, and I jumped low and didn't mean to turn him there, but you can't let off when you can see the checkered flag there.
Kind of talk us through your race as a whole, because for the most part, again, it was a quiet race for the MWM Motorsports number 4 Camaro, but at the end of the day, you managed to be right at the center of the action when it all kicked off at the end.
Yeah, that package was fun. We were all pretty loose, so I think everybody was just kind of playing it safe till the end, but came up a little short. Had fun, though.
Next week, it's going to be the regular series finale coming on home at the North Wilkesboro Speedway. For you, you've been having yourself with some good performances, but it looks like a playoff run might be out of the cards for you this season. So what's going to be the goal for this next week and beyond?
Just not make the broadcast in a bad way. So short track's not my strong suit, so just going to learn and get better for next year.
Well, you know what they say. Practice certainly makes perfect, and we've seen some drivers make some huge turnarounds in the off-season, and no doubt you could be one of those as well. We'll see you next week once again for the regular series finale in North Wilkesboro.
Yeah, appreciate you.
Brett Rucker coming on home out of Jefferson City, and he will close out the podium this afternoon. Boy, what a wild ride that we had here this afternoon, and you could not have asked for a better way to close out racing action from the Talladega Superspeedway. There's still a lot of action coming up on Green Flag TV as well. Tomorrow, the Beer League swings on out to Virginia International Raceway, whereas on Thursday night, the last great Coliseum will make its return to Green Flag TV with the Speed Cup Series coming on now for their next race. And then on Saturday, It's the penultimate round of the VSCA Sports Car Championship, the Miami Sunrise 6-hour endurance race. We'll come at you from the, from the Homestead Miami Speedway. So much action yet to be had this afternoon, and of course, we hope that you're going to be there with us for every single lap and everything in between. Want to find out more about who we are, what we can offer you? You can check us out today at www.greenflightTV.com. As always, my name is Nolan Rambo. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll see you when we go racing next week, one final time in the regular series season at North Wilkesboro.